Satyajit Ray was one of the towering figures in the world of Bengali cinema, literature and culture. Today, we'll take a deep dive into one of his legendary short stories through the lens of a surreal oil painting. Before we begin the story, here's a bit of background. Bengal was one of the few states in India distinct for its leaning towards socialist and communist ideals, largely inspired by the Russian Communist Revolution. In fact, a communist party remained in power for 34 years before being unseated in 2011. The story we'll narrate today was written in 1942, a time when communist sentiments were already deeply ingrained in the art and cultural diaspora. This later evolved into a full-fledged revolution in the late 1960s, which tragically led to the loss of countless young talented Bengalis. One of our goals is to demonstrate that Ray's short stories are evergreen and transcend space and time. To illustrate this, we have reimagined the story as taking place in Russia in the late 1800s when communist ideals were gaining in strength there. In this video, you will watch Mrs. Arty create a surrealistic oil painting whose essence is deeply intertwined with the story. We all know art is highly subjective, so please interpret the painting in your own way and leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you're unfamiliar with the works of Satyajit Ray, you're truly missing out on a gold mine. We have included some links in the description below for you to check out. Oh, and by the way, welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Arty. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And now, let's dive into the story. As Misha walked up the steps of the exhibition hall of the Imperial Academy in St. Petersburg, he took a sharp breath. He looked down the stairs and saw Anna, his longtime friend, slowly walking up, at least 20 steps behind him. The setting sun reflected in the snow, and it filled the air with a beautiful orange tinge, and it lit up Anna's delicate frame. Despite this, Misha could not help but notice how frail Anna was, and how much trouble she was having coming up just a few flights of stairs. Anna finally caught up with Misha and they entered the hall. Misha had planned going to this art exhibition for over a month. The year was 1898 and this exhibition was set in their alma mater, the Imperial Academy, where they spent their golden years in art school. Misha thought this would definitely brighten up Anna and dreamt of nostalgic evening with his childhood friend, absorbing all this beautiful art in the hall. However, as they entered the hall, Misha suddenly turned around and saw Anna's face and was immediately horrified. Anna's face was white and painful. It was as if a wave of bottled up pain has suddenly erupted from her. And it was unbearable. Then suddenly, Anna bolted from Misha, took out a colored pencil and started scribbling heavily on one of the paintings in the exhibit. Misha was so shocked he could not even move for a few seconds. Anna was usually quiet, polite, and one of the most creative artists Misha has ever met. The prospect of her vandalizing art that was exhibited was completely unthinkable to Misha. After a few seconds, Misha, gathering himself, ran towards Anna along with two security guards. They pinned her down and then they took her away. It was all so sudden, it almost felt surreal. In a dazed-like state, Misha followed the guards and saw the police were taking Anna away. After a few hours, Misha paid the bail and finally he could get Anna free. They quietly left the police station and Misha called a horse-drawn carriage to get them home. Misha could not keep quiet any longer and asked Anna, Why? Why would you do such a crazy thing? This is not you. Something must be wrong. Tell me what's wrong. Anna looked up in the cold, dark and starry Russian sky and told Misha, There's something I need to confess. I believed I could bury this secret forever, yet I can't keep it hidden anymore. Then she slowly started to tell her story. What was the reason that Anna suddenly did this crazy act? After all, she was an artist herself and she always had the utmost respect for the profession and other fellow artists. To understand this, we need to go back a few years and you need to listen till the end of this video. I promise the final chapter in this story will hit you like a cold wind and it will leave you questioning right, wrong, justice and the very order of the world. Misha and Anna's friendship and journey back in the art academy was almost something that came straight out of storybooks. They were art students at the Imperial Academy in St. Petersburg, which was a prominent art school back in the late 1800s. Anna and Misha started in the same year, and within a year it became clear to everyone that Anna was by far the most talented among all students in the Imperial Academy. While her peers painted grand portraits of generals and saints, which was the usual norm at the time, Anna's canvases pulsed with emotion and unease, something which almost made everyone a little bit uncomfortable and insecure, including the instructors. While most paintings at the time were focused on rulers and warriors and other heroic figures, Anna's paintings were never about them. Her colors were muted, almost raw and dark, but deliberately so. Not that she did not have the skill to paint a smooth portrait. Whenever the subject matter was up to her, she would focus on painting a collective scene. For example, she would paint laborers in the dock, or peasants in the field, or maybe a common mother in the slums as Madonna. Some instructors would ridicule her art. "My dear, this is not art, this is tantrum on canvas," they would say. Sometimes they would mock directly. "Leave such experiments to Paris, here we honor tradition," they would say. Misha always thought that all of these criticisms were born out of insecurity of the instructors themselves. Misha himself was not as talented as Anna. He was content following the instructions and the curriculum. But somehow he became close friends with Anna. Misha was Anna's biggest fan, and the students could always see them together, having coffee or painting in the yard together. Sometimes Misha's fumbling brushstroke would draw strong critique from Anna. After a few years, many of them were shocked to know they were not a couple. Indeed, they were not. Anna, although she liked to be around Misha, did not really have any romantic inclinations towards him. It would be hard to imagine the same can be said about Misha's thoughts, but he never made any move. He was simply too awestruck by Anna's talent. And just like that, one day, Misha and Anna's story came to an abrupt halt. Suddenly, Anna stopped coming to school. Misha looked everywhere. He went and checked her house, but it was empty. Misha even went to the police, but that did not help. Misha did not know if Anna had any family. Anna did not really like to talk about her personal life very much. Eventually, Misha ran out of ideas of where Anna could be and started to panic that something really bad must have happened to her. One day, he found a small piece of paper stuck behind a canvas he was working on. He could see a note in Anna's handwriting, which said, "Sorry, I had to leave in this way. Wish you all the best. Anna." At first it came as a shock to Misha, then it turned to anger, and then sadness. Months rolled into years, and slowly Misha was getting over Anna. He joined a nearby high school as an art instructor and was getting his life together. He led a pretty normal life. He made a decent living, he had a job he liked, he was getting along in his life as a normal Russian would do. One evening, Misha was returning from a nearby bar after hanging out with his friends. Misha lived at the end of an alleyway, and the distinct footsteps on the cobbled streets on a snowy, cold December night always made Misha feel a little bit uncomfortable. He increased his pace to reach his house, but through the misty light of the gas lamps, he could see a frail and pale dark figure sitting in the footsteps of his door. And then, through the silence, came a familiar voice. "Hello, Misha." Misha could never forget this voice. It was Anna. Misha could not believe what he was seeing. He quickly went inside, let her in, turned on the fireplace, warmed up a bowl of soup for her, and then watched Anna eat her soup vigorously. It was as if she did not have much to eat for a very long time. While she was eating, Misha could not help but notice how frail and pale Anna has become. It felt like Anna went through a ton of hardship over the years she was missing. It broke Misha's heart. Something bad must have happened to her in this time. But exactly what happened? Anna really did not answer Misha's questions, but continued to live in Misha's house and did not speak much. She mostly lay in bed or the couch. Either she stared at the ceiling or would bring out a small notepad where she would sketch with her favorite colored pencils. Misha did not want to pry or intrude that much, But whenever he tried to understand what happened over the years, Anna would just stare blankly at her. Anna also did not eat much. It seemed to Misha that she was growing more pale every day. She would tell me everything when the time comes, Misha thought. I have to be patient, he told himself. 3 months passed by like this. Misha was constantly growing worried over Anna's health. That is when he saw the advert for the exhibit at the Imperial Academy. He thought, perfect, I would go there with Anna. He was certain that being back in their alma mater would help Anna get back to her old self. He got himself 2 tickets to the exhibit, went back to the house, and gave Anna the news. Anna let out a tired smile. It almost seemed like she had no intention to go, but could not say no to Misha's enthusiasm. This brings us back to Misha's visit to the museum, Anna's meltdown and vandalism, and finally to their journey back from the station in a horse carriage. Misha's mind was overflowing with confusion, questions, and even a little bit of anger. Anna let out a deep breath and then slowly started speaking. You know, Misha, our time at the academy were some of the best days of my life. But several things happened in the last few months which you don't know. It started slowly. Whenever I painted in the studio or the yard or by the lake, I could see a gaze. It was as if someone was always watching me. I did not pay too much attention at first, but then slowly it was all I could see. Wherever I went, there was this man following me. It took me a few days to realize that I was followed by the Okrana, the political police. It must have been my art. It was too radical. The SARS did not like it for sure. I slowly realized that I could not get rid of this moral policing very easily. I had 2 choices, either to bend my knee and change my art or to escape. I did not want to drag you into this. I knew if I stayed here, you would get into trouble. So I chose to leave. I did not want to give up my art. I went around from city to city. First I went to Pushkin and then to Peterhof. I did not have much money. I moved around with temporary jobs. That is when I met Dmitri. He was kind, gentle, and unlike anyone I'd ever known. We traveled together for a while, far from St. Petersburg, far from the noise of the city, and trying to build a life of our own. She paused, her eyes distant. But fate has a cruel sense of timing. Dmitri fell ill. It happened so quickly. I thought he would recover, but one morning he was simply gone. The world changed after that, she whispered. It was as if all the light went with him. Slowly, the colors began to fade. At first I thought it was the winter sky or my imagination, but no, they were truly leaving me. The blue of the river, the gold of the evening light, even the red of my own blood all turned to shades of grey. She turned towards Misha, her eyes glistening but dry. Imagine that, Misha, an artist who can no longer see color. Misha sat in silence, the sound of the horse's hooves against the snow echoing through the night. The carriage came to a stop in front of Misha's house. The lamps outside flickered weakly in the wind. Misha helped her down, his heart heavy with unspoken words. As she stepped onto the snow, Anna looked up at the dark, starless sky and murmured, "It's strange, Misha. Even though I can't see it anymore, I still dream in the color blue."